What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Wednesday edition of the PrizePicks Prop Show here at FTNFantasy.com. My name is Zach Graham, aka Kawaisenberg DFS, ready to dive into tonight's two-game slate of NBA playoff action. Coming off a great night in the prop streets. Of course, Brooke Lopez, I think the only guy that didn't come through for us yesterday, but you can see another good overall day now, up to 63.8% as a team here using our PrizePicks Pick'em tool. So hoping to keep that rolling here today. Wonder if we've got any Knicks fans in the chat here. Sixers fans in the chat. Dramatic ending, another dramatic ending to that one last night. Now both fan bases, I think, have been on the receiving end of some tough end of game situations, calls, shots. And as somebody with no dog in the fight, that's been a fun one to watch. But in front of us here tonight, like I said, just two games. Heat and Celtics. Celtics looking to close out the extremely shorthanded Heat. Clippers and Mavs tied up at 2 here, going back to the West Coast. So before we get to the tool, so the picks for today, just want to remind you guys, as always, if you haven't signed up yet at PrizePicks, you can do so using the promo code FTN, and that will give you a 100% deposit match bonus up to $100. They've got the James Harden discount up currently, discounted to 17.5 points. Certainly going to be putting that to use here today. And if you haven't signed up yet at Underdog Fantasy, you can build pretty much similar, if not the exact same plays we talk about here on the PrizePicks board over at Underdog Fantasy. So you can sign up at Underdog also using that same promo code FTN. Another deposit match bonus there at Underdog Fantasy. 100% up to $100. So scan that QR code or just head over to Underdog, sign up using that promo code FTN, and same promo code here to download the Sleeper app. And at Sleeper, you're going to get a deposit match bonus up to $500. And today for new users, Sleeper discounting James Harden's points all the way down to a half point. So no better time to sign up over at Sleeper as well. And again, as we go through here, make sure you're leaving comments in the chat, whether you just want to talk some crap to me here. See Hugo in there with one of his many usernames, titles, saying Sixers in 7. So we'll see. I know the Philadelphia contingent, of which Hugo is not really a part of here at FTN. The Philadelphia contingent, very strong. Certainly got to be feeling a little bit better here this morning. All right, let's talk about some of the picks here tonight. And I want to start in Clippers and Mavs. Hugo, I know part of the Mavs contingent here. And, of course, Kawhi Leonard back out now indefinitely for the Clippers. So there's a number of guys here in attractive spots. I think both in the prop market and on the DFS side, of course, the latter, which we'll discuss that on NBA Live tonight behind the paywall here at FTN Fantasy. But let's talk a little bit about Norman Powell. Norm's minutes much safer here with Kawhi Leonard out. Of course, he would be playing a significant role here regardless, but his usage is going to tick up here slightly with no Leonard in the mix. And ultimately, in my eyes, the line of 11.5 points here for Norman Powell is too low for a guy of his caliber. When it just comes to scoring the basketball, his efficiency from the floor is down a touch in this series, and he's not getting to the line nearly as much as you've come to expect from Norman Powell throughout his career, or even this season where he's taken a little bit of a back seat. He's a guy that I don't think we should be shocked if he can get over this number at 11.5 in a single half of tonight's game. And the FTN data model has him for right around 16 points here tonight. Remember, this is a guy who, on a team with no Harden, right? We got to keep that factored in. Averaged 17 points per game last season. And in the first round loss to Phoenix, where Kawhi Leonard went out after game 2, Norm Powell averaged 21.8 points per game in those 5 games. So again, different team this year, but still, Norm Powell, very good at scoring the basketball. And again, the FTN data model has him for around 16 points tonight. So we're going to lock that in more than 11.5 points as our first pick for Norman Powell. And I see Hugo in here saying Mavs in 6. Yeah, man, I'm not surprised. I would not be surprised by that. Coming in, I was mistaken thinking that Kawhi's knee was going to be okay for this series. Obviously made the effort to get back, but without him, man, yeah, I think it is the Mavs series to lose. To be honest, I'm a little bit surprised that they have dropped both games that Kawhi was out. So it's going to be a really fun one tonight. Let's talk about the other game here, though. Celtics and Heat. Again, both teams going to be shorthanded here tonight. Miami, even more so than they already have been. Jaime Jaquez Jr. joining Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier on the sidelines tonight. And then Kristaps Porzingis, soleus strain, which I think we have all learned about in the last couple weeks with Giannis's injury. And now KP going to be out for a number of games, potentially the entire second round, and maybe even longer. We'll see. But tonight, the first guy I want to look to here is actually off the bench for Boston, and it's Peyton Pritchard and his points prop of 6.5. Now, in the regular season, 56 games where Peyton Pritchard played 18 or more minutes. 42 of those 56 games, he got more than 6.5 points. Now, of course, it's a different story here in the playoffs. It's not a one-to-one comparison. And Pritchard struggling a little bit statistically this series, I think due to him sharing the floor with more starters than he typically would in those regular season games, especially when his minutes are up, 25 plus. Typically you're missing a White, a Holiday, maybe one of those wings in Tatum and Brown, or even a front court option that could just send the Celtics a little bit smaller. You can see it. Usage rate in the regular season, 17.2%. Through the first 4 games of this series, just 10.2% usage for Pritchard. But I think the absences on both sides of this game really have me thinking that Peyton Pritchard could be in for some more work here tonight. With Jaquez out for Miami, right, in that second half of Game 4, we saw both Delon Wright and Patty Mills get some significant run there in that second half of Game 4. So, of course, Boston can just keep Drew Holiday and Derek White out there for long stretches. We saw that in the same half, but Pritchard is still going to get his rotations in both halves and should play garbage time if it comes to that. Celtics 14-point home favorites here tonight. So Pritchard also over this number in 2 of the 4 games. In the 2 that he came up short, he did not shoot the ball at all in Game 2, which is very strange for a guy like Peyton Pritchard, even playing alongside those higher caliber guys, and was 0 for 4 in Game 4. So FTN data model has Pritchard for around 8.5 points here tonight. So I'm going to roll with the more than 6.5 points here of Peyton Pritchard. I actually have to go to the second page to grab that. So those are our first 2 picks today. Norman Powell more than 11.5 points. Peyton Pritchard more than 6.5 points. And then Hugo also chiming in here saying, was a bit surprised that Jovic didn't get more run after Jaquez was out. I agree. That's something that obviously we're going to discuss in depth on NBA Live later today at FTNFantasy.com. Again, that's behind the paywall. We'll discuss that in the Discord channel, Hugo. But I agree. It's going to be interesting to see how Spoelstra adjusts here tonight. Now let's head to the fantasy scoreboard because, again, that's my bread and butter, as I like to say here. So I want to jump back to the Mavs and Clippers game here and talk about PJ Washington. His fantasy score prop is set at 25 here this morning. And I think that's a bit low. I know, similar to the 2 guys we just talked about, PJ Washington has been pretty poor from a fantasy point per minute standpoint, just 0.76 PrizePicks fantasy points per minute through the first 4 games of the series. But Washington is getting huge minutes, 37 minutes per game through the first 4 here of this first round series. And again, 37 minutes per game, 28.1 PrizePicks fantasy score per game. FTN data model has him for around 29.5 PrizePicks fantasy score tonight. So I'm going to lock in a more than selection on PJ Washington here. Again, just relying on that minute ceiling and him being able to pick up enough peripherals along the way. And then staying in this game, but let's flip to the Clippers side of things. with Kawhi out again tonight, we should expect another big minutes load for Terrence Mann. In the 2 games with Kawhi in, Mann relegated to 22 minutes per game, but then in games 1 and 4 of this series, where there was no Leonard, Terrence Mann 39 and 35 minutes, respectively. So with Kawhi out again here tonight, I think Terrence Mann, Terrence Mann will be or continue to be the primary defender on Luka Doncic, which we have seen in games 1 and 4. And the FTN data model has Terrence Mann in for another 35 minutes here tonight. Obviously, there is room to get on top of that minutes allocation, and the data model coming along with a PrizePicks fantasy score projection into the low 20s. We're getting multiple points here on his projection in the data model from his where that prop is set at PrizePicks. So I'm going to take a more than selection on Terrence Mann fantasy score prop. Again, 18.5 this morning is where Terrence Mann's prop is set. So those are my 4 picks here for the stream. But again, a reminder, you're going to get entries posted from Kenneth Lee, Chris Meany, Alex Blickel throughout the day here. Maybe I know Alex out right now, practice round for the U.S. Open qualifiers that are taking place this week. So good luck to Alex this week, which is why you'll see me here again tomorrow. I know Kenneth Lee already dropped a 6-pick play in about an hour ago into that channel. I will have more plays as well throughout the day. You know, Meany's going to come through with some hockey picks. So again, sign up at FTN Fantasy. Our VIP Plus package is $299.99 for the full year. Okay, I think less than $25 a month for access to all of our models, all of our projections, advanced stats, all 3 of our Discord channels, everything at FTN under one roof. Less than $25 a month with that VIP Plus package. So join me in that Pick'em Games channel. And I see Frank here in the chat saying, already a subscriber at FTN Fantasy. Keep up the good work. We appreciate you, Frank, for being a part of the FTN community. And I'm with you. Let's keep up that good work. Let's keep it rolling here tonight. Our 4 picks on stream today. Norm Powell, more than 11.5 points. Peyton Pritchard, more than 6.5 points. And then more than selections on the fantasy score props of PJ Washington at 25 and Terrence Mann at 18.5. Like I said, I will be back tomorrow with another edition of the PrizePicks Prop Show. Appreciate you tuning in, whether you caught it live or on the replay. And of course, good luck tonight, everybody.